She said I'm too clingy and that I should give her space, so I did. The next morning her phone was dead, her gym card rejected, and Netflix asked for a new login. Now she's calling me from her friend's Wi-Fi. I'm 29 male, and apparently I'm too clingy according to Brianna, 26 female, my girlfriend of 2.5 years. Well, she asked for space and I delivered more space than she ever imagined. Thursday night, Brianna was getting ready to go out. Said she was having girls' night with her coworkers from the salon. Nothing unusual except she was dressed like she was going clubbing, not hanging out with Karen and Michelle from work. Short black dress, heels, full makeup, the works. Where exactly are you girls going tonight? I asked while she was putting on earrings that cost more than my car payment. Just out, she said, not making eye contact. Probably dinner, then maybe a bar or two. Which bar? I asked. Figured I'd avoid the area, didn't want to accidentally run into them, and seemed like I was checking up on her. She spun around with this annoyed look. Ryan, you're being too clingy. I need a man who gives me space, not someone who needs to know every detail of my night. The way she said it, so sharp, so dismissive, like asking about her plans was some kind of crime. We lived together, shared expenses, shared a life, but apparently asking where she was going made me clingy. Consider it done, I said. She grabbed her purse and left. I spent the evening thinking about that comment. Too clingy, need a man who gives me space. By the time she got home at 3 a.m. smelling like expensive cologne that wasn't mine, I'd made some decisions. Hey viewers, before we dive into the first update, I want to talk about this setup for a second. Notice how our guy here doesn't ignore the red flags. Dressed for clubbing, won't say where she's going, comes home at 3 a.m. smelling like another man's cologne. A lot of guys would start making excuses for this behavior or try to communicate better. Not this guy. When someone tells you exactly what they want, in this case space, sometimes the best thing you can do is give them exactly that. Let's see how much space she really wanted. Update 1 Friday morning, I woke up with crystal clear focus. Brianna wanted space from a clingy boyfriend, so I was going to give her all the space she could handle. Started with her phone. She was on my family plan, had been for about a year to save money. Called Verizon first thing in the morning. Explained I needed to remove a line from my account effective immediately. They said there would be a cancellation fee, but the line would be suspended within 2 hours. Next was the gym membership. Brianna went to this upscale fitness place downtown. 24-hour access, yoga classes, personal trainers, the whole deal. She was on my family membership plan. Saved her about $80 a month. Called them, explained I needed to remove an authorized user immediately due to relationship ending. They suspended her access within the hour. Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, all the streaming services were under my accounts. Changed every password. Forced logout on all devices. She'd have to get her own entertainment now. Car insurance took a bit longer. Her car was in her name, but I'd added her to my policy because it was cheaper than her getting individual coverage. Called my agent. Gave 30-day notice to remove her from my policy. Agent said she'd need to get her own coverage before the 30 days or risk a lapse. The apartment situation was trickier. We both signed the lease, so I couldn't just kick her out, but I could stop covering her portion of expenses. The lease was $1,600 total, split evenly, plus utilities, internet, cable. Her half came to about $950 monthly. I'd been covering it for the last 6 months because she claimed money was tight. I wrote her a note, left it on the kitchen counter. Brianna, you said you need space for McClingy boyfriend. Starting today, you have it. Your phone service ends today, gym access is suspended, and streaming passwords changed. Your half of monthly expenses is $950, due by the 1st of each month. Your car insurance ends in 30 days. Get your own policy. Enjoy your space. She was still sleeping when I left for the gym around 8 a.m. By the time I got back an hour later, she was in the kitchen holding the note, looking confused. Ryan, what is this? She asked, waving the paper. It's what you asked for, Brianna. Space from your McClingy boyfriend. This isn't what I meant, and you know it. You said you need a man who gives you space, Brianna. I'm giving you space from everything I provide. She tried her phone to call someone, probably one of her girls, to complain about me. Service suspended. Tried logging into Netflix to distract herself. Password didn't work. That's when the first wave of panic set in. Alright viewers, pause here for a second. This is what I love about this story. The guy takes her words literally. She says she wants space, he gives her space. No arguing, no trying to explain what she really meant, no begging for clarification. When someone shows you their priorities through their words and actions, believe them. She prioritized space over everything he was providing, so he simply honored that priority. Smart move. Update 2. Weekend reality check. The weekend was when reality really started hitting. Saturday morning, Brianna's car wouldn't start. Dead battery, probably from sitting in the cold all week. She asked me to jump it. Can't help you, Brianna, I said. You said you need space from your clingy boyfriend. Calling me for help seems pretty clingy. Ryan, don't be ridiculous, my car won't start. Sounds like a you problem, Brianna. Maybe call one of those guys who gives you space. She had to call roadside assistance through her current insurance, which I was still paying for another few weeks. Took them 2 hours to arrive. Cost her a $20 service fee. Saturday afternoon, she wanted to go to her yoga class. Showed up and found out her gym access was suspended. Called me from the parking lot. Ryan, they won't let me in. They said my membership is suspended. I gave you space from my gym membership, Brianna. You can get your own now. That's my gym. I've been going there for months. On my membership, Brianna. Time to adult up and pay your own way. She spent Saturday evening trying to log in to every streaming service we shared. None of them worked. Finally, she came to me around 9 p.m. looking frustrated. Ryan, I can't watch anything. All the passwords are wrong. That's because you're no longer authorized on my accounts, Brianna. You wanted space, remember? I just wanted you to stop asking so many questions. I didn't mean cut me off from everything. You said you need a man who gives you space, Brianna. I'm that man now. Sunday, she tried a different approach. Brought me coffee in bed. Tried to cuddle. Said she was sorry about Thursday night. Ryan, baby, I think there was a misunderstanding Thursday. I was just stressed about work. No misunderstanding, Brianna. You were very clear. Too clingy. Need a man who gives you space. Message received. But this is extreme, Ryan. Cutting off my phone, my gym, everything. This is space, Brianna. Enjoy it. Update 3. Week 1 fallout. Monday was when the insurance agent called me about Brianna needing her own policy. I gave Brianna the message. She had 25 days to get coverage or she'd be driving uninsured. Ryan, I can't afford car insurance on my own. The quotes I'm getting are twice what you were paying. That's because you're young with a couple speeding tickets, Brianna. Insurance companies charge accordingly. Can't you just keep me on your policy? Keeping you on my insurance seems pretty clingy, Brianna. You said you need space. Tuesday was the first of the month. Rent day. I paid my half $800. Left her portion uncovered. The leasing office called Wednesday morning. Mr. Thompson, we're missing half of this month's rent payment. My portion was paid Tuesday. You'll need to contact Ms. Parker about her half. Sir, you're both on the lease. If the full amount isn't paid by the 5th, we'll assess late fees. Then you better call Ms. Parker. I'm only covering my portion going forward. Wednesday evening, Brianna was panicking about the rent. Ryan, they called me about the rent. I don't have $950. Then you should probably figure out how to get it, Brianna. Where am I supposed to get that kind of money by Friday? The same place adults get money, Brianna. Work, save, budget, plan ahead. You know the salon doesn't pay that much. Then maybe you should have thought about that before asking for space from the guy covering your expenses. Thursday, she tried borrowing money from friends. Her girls' night crew wasn't as supportive when it came to actual cash. Friday, she called her parents, crying. I could hear her on the phone with her mom explaining the situation, spinning it like I was being unreasonable. Mom, he just cut me off from everything, she said. I can't afford rent by myself. I can't afford my own phone plan. It's like he wants me to fail. Her mom apparently told her that actions have consequences and maybe she should have appreciated what she had. Even her own mother wasn't taking her side completely. Update 4, Week 2 desperation. By week 2, Brianna was in full panic mode. Her parents had lent her enough to cover the late rent payment plus fees, but made it clear this was a one-time bailout. She tried working extra hours at the salon, but tips weren't covering the gap between what she earned and what life actually cost. Thursday night, she came home looking defeated. "Ryan," she said, sitting on the couch next to me. "I get it. Okay? I was wrong Thursday night. I shouldn't have called you clingy." "You weren't wrong, Brianna. You were honest. For the first time in our relationship, you told me exactly what you thought." "That's not fair, Ryan. You know I didn't mean it like that." "How did you mean it, Brianna? When you said you need a man who gives you space, what did you think that meant?" "I meant stop asking where I'm going every time I leave the house." "And what did you think would happen when I stopped being involved in your life, Brianna? Did you think the bills would pay themselves?" She tried to argue that asking about her whereabouts was different from cutting off financial support, but I shut that down fast. "Everything I provided, it came from the same place, Brianna. A boyfriend who cared enough to be involved in your life. You wanted space from that boyfriend. Now you have it." Friday, she went to get her own phone plan, discovered her credit required a $400 deposit, came home frustrated and broke. "Ryan, they want $400 upfront for a phone plan because I have limited credit history." "That sounds expensive, Brianna. Can you co-sign for me just this once?" "Co-signing seems pretty clingy, Brianna. You said you need a man who gives you space." She started crying, real tears this time, not the manipulative kind. "Ryan, please, I need a phone for work, for everything." "Then you should have thought about that before you decided you needed space from your clingy boyfriend." Viewers, this is the desperation phase. She's starting to understand the full cost of independence, and it's way more than she thought. For $100 deposit for a phone plan, rent she can't afford, insurance she needs to get, all the things her clingy boyfriend was handling in the background. The crying is real now because the consequences are real. Update 5, Week 3 breaking point. Week 3 was when everything started falling apart. Brianna's car insurance lapsed because she couldn't afford the individual policy rates. She had to start taking Uber to work, which ate up most of her daily earnings. "Ryan, I spent $40 on Uber today just to get to and from work. I can't keep this up." "Sounds like you need to find a more affordable transportation solution, Brianna. My car is just sitting there because I can't afford insurance." "This is insane. This is independence, Brianna. Welcome to adulting." She tried to get a cheaper gym elsewhere, but even the basic places wanted $60 a month plus a sign-up fee. She came home defeated. "Ryan, I can't even afford a gym membership. The cheapest place is still $60 and they want $50 up front. Maybe try running outside, Brianna. It's free. You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "I'm enjoying giving you exactly what you asked for, Brianna." By Thursday, she was borrowing money from coworkers just to eat. Friday night, she broke down completely. "Ryan, I can't do this," she said, sobbing. "I can't afford to live like this. I don't make enough money. I need help." "You said you need a man who gives you space, Brianna. Space means handling your own problems." "I was wrong. Okay? I was completely wrong. You weren't clingy, you were caring, and I was too stupid to see it." "You weren't stupid, Brianna. You were honest. You told me exactly what kind of man you need, and I'm giving you space to find him." She begged, pleaded, promised to change, said she'd never complain about me asking questions again. But I'd heard enough. "Brianna, you said you need a man who gives you space. I gave you exactly what you asked for. Find that man and leave me out of it." Viewers, this is the consequence phase. This is where reality hits hardest. She can't afford basic living expenses, can't even afford transportation to work, and suddenly the clingy boyfriend looks pretty good. But notice our guy doesn't fold when she starts begging. He sticks to what she actually said, not what she claims she meant. That's the difference between being strong and being a pushover. Final update 1 month later. It's been a month since I gave Brianna all the space she wanted, and the results speak for themselves. She ended up having to move back in with her parents because she couldn't afford the rent split. We had to break the lease early, which cost us both, but I could handle the fee. She couldn't. I found a new apartment, smaller but nicer and way more peaceful. No more wondering where she's going at night. No more expensive cologne smells at 3 a.m. No more being called clingy for caring about my relationship. Brianna tried reaching out a few times through mutual friends, always with messages about how sorry she was, how she'd learned her lesson, how she wanted another chance. My response was always the same. She got exactly what she asked for. The beautiful irony is that girls' night was apparently her testing the waters with some guy from her past. She thought she could have her cake and eat it too, keep me as the financial safety net while exploring other options. Her plan backfired spectacularly when I gave her the space she claimed she needed. Turns out she didn't actually want space. She wanted freedom to do whatever she wanted while I continued providing everything she needed. Her sister Jessica told me later that Brianna spent weeks complaining about how unfair I was being, how cutting off financial support wasn't the same as giving space. Even her family got tired of hearing about it. Last week, I ran into her at the grocery store. She was using coupons, looking stressed about prices. She saw me and tried to wave. I nodded politely and kept walking. No drama, no conversation, just the space she asked for. The guy from girls' night never called her, by the way. Apparently he was just looking for a hookup, not a relationship, definitely not someone to support. She learned real quick that not every man is willing to cover someone else's lifestyle. She wanted space from a clingy boyfriend who cared enough to be involved in her life. She got space from everything that boyfriend provided. Financial support, emotional support, future security, all gone. The lesson here is simple: when someone tells you what they need, take them seriously. If they say they need space, give them space. If they say you're too clingy, step back and let them handle their own life. Brianna learned that having a caring, attentive boyfriend isn't the same as having a clingy one. She learned that financial independence is expensive and emotional independence is lonely. Now she has all the space she wanted, plus the space to figure out how to pay her own bills. Meanwhile, I found peace and eventually someone who appreciates involvement instead of calling it clingy. Sometimes the best revenge is just giving people exactly what they ask for and watching them realize they never really wanted it. Alright viewers, final thoughts on this story. This is a perfect example of how words have consequences. She thought she could casually dismiss him as too clingy while keeping all the benefits he provided. But our guy called her bluff completely. When she said she needed space, he gave her space from everything: his phone plan, his gym membership, his financial support, his emotional investment, everything. What I love about this ending is that she didn't just lose a boyfriend, she lost her entire lifestyle. The financial security, the safety net, the comfortable life, all gone because she couldn't appreciate what she had. And notice how she immediately tried to backtrack when consequences hit, claiming it was a misunderstanding. But sometimes people need to learn the hard way that their words matter. This guy didn't get vindictive or cruel. He just took her at her word and gave her exactly what she said she wanted. Space. All the space in the world. And sometimes that's the most powerful response you can have. Just stepping back and letting people experience the full weight of their own choices. The real lesson here isn't about revenge. It's about self-respect. When someone tells you they need space from you, maybe they're doing you a favor by showing you exactly how much they value what you bring to their life. In this case, not much. So he gave her space and found his own peace. That's how you handle disrespect. Not by fighting it, but by removing yourself from it entirely.